Hello to you, my fellow viewer. I've got a story for you. This past Sunday, I was doing an improv class. I know a few videos back when I was making more videos, and again, I apologize that I haven't put out more content, as I've really been thinking about where I need to head, what direction in my life, what purpose, things of that sort, trying to narrow that down in my head. Anyway, this past Sunday, I was online taking an improv course, and I'm taking an improv course from an organization called Improvolution in New York City, New York. Now, I live in Fresno, California, but with COVID and this pandemic going on, I guess despite the fact that there are a lot of weird, terrible things going on in the world right now, that would be one of my personal blessings. Because I live nowhere close to New York, but I can actually do this improv class from someone who's actually trained in improv and lives in New York. My instructor's name was Mallory Kinney, and we started playing various games. And one specific game was my favorite. We had to say words, and when we'd come up with these words, we went in a little circle. And say I said dog, the person after me would have to either start another word with the letter G or the sound of ag at the very end. And they had to say it as quick as possible. And so we kept doing that. And we first did it in a neutral way where we were just coming up with words and saying it however we wanted. But then Mallory gave us something interesting to do. We had to say these words with an attitude. And she assigned us different attitudes. In one round of the game, we had the attitude of someone with a secret to tell. And the other attitude was the tough guy, the wise, you trying to be a wise guy? Trying to have like a tough Jersey accent, right? Which, as you can tell from what I just did, I don't have a great one right now. I haven't imitated it a lot. But anyway, we had to do it because in improv, one of the tenets that she told us was that we have to commit. We cannot worry about making a mistake. We must make a decision. So we go, and one of the words that comes out of my mouth while I'm being the tough guy is groceries. I'm thinking to myself, why did I say groceries? Why did that come out of the tough guy attitude? It was just one of those weird, funny moments. And moments like that continued throughout the improv. It was a 2.5-hour session filled with many games. It was a whole lot of fun, and it felt like in this session with a small group of individuals, I got to actually be more of myself. You see, I feel like many of us in society have this chain that's strapped across. Whether you call it the subconscious, the unconscious, things that we don't want to say or we don't want to reveal to other people are just put down here. They're suppressed or chained up and locked away, so we never get to use it. However, it felt like when we were playing these games in this supportive space, it's like a key started to slowly turn that lock. It started to open up that lock, in other words, and freed up who I am as a person. I became more expressive. I started to show more emotions. I found parts of myself that I didn't really agree with, such as being the angry one. Being the angry attitude is something I feel like I'm trying to put away. I don't really like being angry. I feel like it doesn't really benefit me, though it's a part of being human, and I have to learn how to deal with it. So it was interesting getting that idea as well. So we go through these games, and at the very end, we learned 3 tenets. 1, as I mentioned previously, commit to the action. Don't worry about making a mistake. There are no mistakes in improv. If it's funny, cool. If it's weird, cool. But just make a decision. And it was a reminder to myself because many times in my life, whether it's trying to become the best speaker I can be, whether it's looking for a career job, whether it's deciding what restaurant I want to eat at, I have to think a lot about, well, what about this? What about that? What are the pros? What are the cons? And sometimes it takes way too long and I can't make a decision because it all seems to even out in the end. But with the improv, I was able to make decisions quicker. I was just going, and it felt good to just make a decision. Whether it was right or wrong, it happens. And you find out that whatever consequences come from it, you can surely deal with it. Unless, of course, you're in war or something like that. You know, the stakes are going to be a bit higher and there is always the potential for, say, death. But it was a reminder to myself that most things in life aren't going to kill you. You can still adjust and move on and wear a smile on your face if you want and embrace life. So that was the first one, is to commit. 2 was to listen. Listen very carefully. And it reminds me that many times in our lives, we don't pay attention to the words or the instructions. I'll give you a personal example. I was doing this mock Navy SEALs training. It's run by, I believe, yes, Mark Devine, a former Navy SEAL. It was the 12-hour or the half-a-day training just to see where your limits are and everything else. And I remember we're getting hosed down by water and eventually we're getting to a spot where we're doing body squats. We're throwing ourselves on our back. We're throwing ourselves on our belly as fast as we can. Some of us are getting dipped in ice-filled tubs, and it was my turn to go over, so I go over to the ice tub. And the instructor, he didn't say what his name was. He was just this tough-looking military guy who was probably a SEAL or a Marine or something of that sort, had the shades, you can't see his eyes or anything. And he told me to take off my backpack, to drop my weapon, and slowly lower myself into the tub. So, I do what I think he says, I do what I think he told me to do. And he says, Medlock, what did I tell you to do? Apparently I did it wrong. So he had me run back to the spot and come back. Meanwhile, all the other people who are in this thing are mad at me because the quicker we get through these things, the less they have to suffer. So I do it a second time. Take this off, take that off. Medlock, what the hell did I tell you to do? Again, I messed up. I go back and it took me 3 times to get it right before I got dipped in the ice bath. And it was a reminder that many of us are poor listeners. We don't listen to the tone behind it. We don't listen to the hidden meaning behind things. We don't listen to the actual words. So listening is another part of what I learned from improv. And the third and final thing that I learned from improv was teamwork, to get our emotions set to help everybody out. So basically, when we're as genuine as we can be, when we're unlocking our emotions, when we're being vulnerable, we allow our teammates, we allow those, if you're an actor, your co-stars, if it's Navy SEALs or the military, your teammates and fellow troops, if it's a classroom, your fellow students or teachers, when one person is able to access that and do the best they can, it gives permission to everybody else to do that as well. And so thank you, Mallory, for this past class. I have another class coming up this Sunday, and that's going to be amazing. It was wonderful. And guys, I truly recommend improv, if not for a purpose such as becoming a better speaker like myself, just to have fun, just to explore, just to open yourself up to the possibilities and learn about who you are as a person. Alright guys, so that's my video, my little story. Ended up teaching a little bit about what improv brings out. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to send them to me. Click on the subscribe button if you like what you see. Until next time guys, as I look to become a better speaker, you guys all have a good one.